She ain't for everybody, so I know she mine. Private love, no public show. Still she shine, still she glow. Everybody wanna ride that side. I thank God mine's low key and divine. Cause peace don't post and real don't fold. She my treasure, heart and soul. You ain't out here trying to please the crowd. You protecting what we got in our
We're just getting started.
Ain't no need for
Just give it a
likes on
second for
the
people to come in.
baby, what we got, that's true. See the world love noise, but we move in silence. No games, no talk, no violence. You my calm when life gets loud. My reason to stay grounded now. Everybody chasing what look right.
Throw that up there like that for a second for the folks.
When God sent you, I stopped searching. I ain't need no proof. I
So they can see what they're looking at.
so I know she might. Private love, public show. Still she shine, still she glow. Everybody wanna ride that side. I thank God mine's low key and divine. Cause peace don't post and
Yeah, we're just getting started. Just getting started. We'll give it a couple minutes. Let people come on in. I might as well roll the second one up. What's going on, Meta? How you doing? I'm just getting started. About to throw some game out here. It's good to see you. What's up, Kish Lover? How you doing? Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. We just getting started. We got some maps that I found. City Christmas. Yeah, we got some more some maps that we found here. Just to give y'all a preview. Let me just kind of turn it off. Let me I don't like to just leave people waiting, so I always get started and then I return back for my people who come in later. But where did I get these maps? Well, your boy is starting to cruise around certain archives that are not in the United States. Let me see. I should have saved them. Let me see so I can show y'all. Now, here's one of them. Now, this is the Biblioteca Nacional, okay, digital. Let's see. It says, hello. What's up, Blue Morpho? What's up, people coming in? Said noted. Meta said, yep. All right, seeing everybody down here. Peace. All right. Make sure I don't miss y'all. So this is the Biblioteca Nacional, but the other one I was looking at was called Gallica. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. It might be one of these two. I think it's one of these. Let's see it. Yep, this is Gallica. You see the URL ends at a .fr. That's how you know it's France, coming from France. But also you can tell just by some of the wording over here. I can't zoom in for whatever. Okay, the wording and stuff like that. So even though I can't really fully, if I really wanted to try to understand what it meant, if I could highlight it, sometimes I can highlight it and do a translate directly. But if not, I can screenshot, have ChatGPT do it. But for the most part, you just need to know a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. You just need to know a little bit, like where's the search bar, right? A couple of the filter options, right? But when I came in here, first thing I did was come up to this search bar right here. And as you can see, I already got America up in the search bar. We're going to search that, right? And it's going to try to pull up some stuff here. I'm going to just kind of give y'all an idea on what I was doing. Because what made me think about this, just to kind of give y'all an idea, what made me think about this is I noticed that I got tired of looking at a lot of the books in our archives, even though our archives have a lot of gems and books that you can still find. I'm still finding stuff from France, from other, places that's still there. But I do know that sometimes these things can get manipulated. They can get during translation. Like the Spanish version will have black looking Indians in it, and then the YT English version that they translate over into English will have white folks in it. They don't replace the heads and stuff like that. I made videos about it. So what site is this? What's up, Toy Toy? So this site you'll have to take down or screenshot the beginning. Oops. Screenshot the beginning of that. Everything before the F from the FR. The FR is like .com. So this is gallica.bnf.fr for France. Okay. And then when you get there, you can do a little search. So I searched America, right? And then when I came over here to the left-hand side, notice you see maps right there. I said, oh shit, right? And I still haven't been through all the images yet. And there's different things. So I clicked on maps. And I mean, instantly, y'all, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to filter those maps by the years. So I go, here's some options right here, sort by. Now, even though I can't really read, you can somewhat read. Actually, no, I can read that. They actually have it in English. So publication date in ascending order or descending. So we're going to do ascending, right? So now we have some of the oldest maps available about America, supposedly, in the French archives. Starting from one map, 1500 to 1599. You got other maps. There's a 1530 map. There's a 1532 map. I'm actually kind of curious about that. Hold up. I may need to go back through some of these. Let's see what pops up on this map. Now this ain't necessarily a map. And is this? You can get pretty damn close too. Sometimes you'll start zooming in and it will be, I don't think this is America. It says Austria right there. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that's America. And another thing that's cool, this text right here, I can use ChatGPT to decipher this text, translate this text. Talking about Ferdinando, but that's not the same. Ferdinando was used by a lot of different people. So here we got, as y'all can see though, some of these are going to be America. So let me find you one that's America real quick. Let's see. Maybe I should have kept it on the one that was on relevance. Okay. Here's one that shows the word America in it. You can see it's highlighted for us, but that's a full globe, 1550-ish. It has a question mark next to it. Let's just take a look at it. And then we'll go look at the ones that I found directly. But I just wanted you to kind of see what I was able to find on this bitch. Now, see, there it goes. There's America right there. You can tell by Florida right there, Tierra, Florida. Hispania Major, Hispania Mejor. They don't really have a whole lot of things listed on this map right here. So, anyways, as you can see though, this is where I was at. And I'm about to jump to, I don't know why this is, I must have hit the bottom of it. Where's the next option? Oh, up here. So anyways, but this is how I found these maps. So I'm going to show you the maps that I actually have saved, because I went through and I was just going through, and then you can see when eventually you'll get, it's 39 pages. I ain't going to go through all 39, obviously. But we'll go to over here. Now, I either got these either in France. Some of the, like this one's in France, I think. One of either French or Spain or no, yeah, this is France. I'm sorry, it's right there. In my damn face, it says Gallica right there. Some of these, so these are all probably from the French archives, but some I might show you one from the Spanish. But when you look at it, we obviously see first things first. Now, first things first, they're talking about Florida. There's Pensacola, Delta, Florida. You got things on here, the mosquitoes. You got the see if I recognize any of these. Some of these names will be things that the Spaniards named it, and then some of these names will be things that might be Timugwa. That might be one. The Timuquas, they usually are right there. Your Appalachians and stuff like that. But instantly, you all see the obvious thing going on here, right? The obvious melanated, woolly-haired Indians with cotton mantle clothing, okay, and they're pointing their arrows at lions. At lions. Now, first things first. Says that correct? Does it really say mosquitoes? I believe so. I believe there was a mosquito tribe. I'd have to double check, but I do believe there was a mosquito tribe. Peace, Pen. How you doing? What's happening with you? Yeah, I do believe there was a mosquito tribe. So these are melanated Indians in a map from the French archives aiming at a lion. But they say lions aren't even supposed to be in America. But that's a lie. Because I have also, you know what, I'll pull it up on my phone so I don't lose my spot here. We have, I have receipts from books saved that show that lions were in America. So not only do we have maps right here, right, that's going to show lions in America. And I remember somebody trying to tell me that bullshit before. Oh, there ain't no lions in America, there, whatever. I have a whole album called Lions in America. Now, first things first, you have the Germans who painted America with melanated Indians wearing cotton mantles and feathers, bow and arrows with some lions. Okay? And so if that's not enough about the lions for you, right? Then you can go over here. They had somewhat of a cat. That's not really, I wouldn't call that a lion. This one was another painting with a possible lion with America. This was another painting with a possible lion with Americans. Okay, melanated Americans. That's more of a leopard or whatever. Here's another. No, that's not America. That's not America. That's Africa. Sorry. And then there's that. Now we'll get to also the receipt of this book. If you want, you can get a screenshot of that book right there. This book is from 1709. Okay, I had this some time ago, read through quite a bit of it. I had to read through it. That's the only way I found this page. You see that? It says, this page says, hey, these are the beasts in Carolina. It's plain and simple. Hey, here's the beast that I saw when I went to goddamn Carolina, okay? And in those beasts, we easily see a lion, okay? So if anybody's said they didn't see a lion, they are lying to you. That was corny, but you get what I'm saying? They also saw a lot of these other things, right? But it says minks. What is like for mink coats? I don't know. But okay. And I saw there was another book that I had that says something. Oh yeah, right here. The Letter of Hernando de Soto, okay? Him too. He says right here, let me highlight it for you. They said, hey, they sometimes have them also of cats, deers, stags, bears, lions, and cow skins. So I said, how do you get lion skins if you don't have no lions, right? Don't let these people play with you. So when I see this and they're pointing, and this was about South Carolina, right? Well, I mean, this ain't too far from South Carolina, right? Just south of it. And when they came there, them niggas saw lions too. And they saw niggas shooting at lions. So said lions, tigers, bears, oh my. Said go to the mountain if you want to. There's probably lions up there. Yeah, I know, in the mountains. Lions, I mean, they say they were the beast, right? The white folks were the beast too. That might be who you talk about. Wow, that's crazy. You mean to tell me they wiped out the lions? They really changed. Yeah, they really did. No, yeah, they really. I don't even think they either wiped out the lions or they put them in zoos and they tell you that they come from somewhere else. So really, I think that's what it is. I think they put them in the zoo and told you that they come from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I'm lying, I'm flying. My great grandma's name, Della or Delia. That's a beautiful name, Delia. And I feel like I've seen that in like some things that I've been looking at before too. I've definitely seen the name before. I heard of that name. Mm. Said, damn, that's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. So this is one map that I saw. Now we're gonna move to another map that I found. But this one's pretty obvious on what we see, right? All right, let's go to another map. Bam. This one is talking about Virginia and Florida. Now we're gonna start off with these people right here because at first glance, you'd be like, well, who are these people? Right? Now, are they Indians? Well, they got feathers on their head, so they could be. I'm still not sure. They're shaded though. They're not melanated per se, but they're shaded and they look like they have YT features. But we're gonna go to the corner over here because I'm still curious about this. Because you're gonna see this same skin color along with other shades up here with different phenotypes. So we're gonna, and this is Florida. So you can, whoops. So you can see there's Florida, right? Mm. Virginia, right? We even have some stuff. I might have even seen the Ogeechee on here. Let me see. Let me see. That might have been a different map that I saw the Ogeechee on. That they listed it. It's probably on here. It's one of these. But sometimes they won't write they didn't write the name on that thing. No, they didn't write the name on that thing. And some of these could be French words or Spanish words and not exactly the things. But either way, so let's go to the main thing over here in the corner. Now, that's pretty damn obvious. Okay. Mm. Let me see if I can pull up a quick receipt that tells you about how these people used to wear their cotton mantles. I think, oh, if I just put the word shoulder, let me see. Camera, shoulder, home. One of these books that a woolen mantle which does not close fit the body. Instead, they wear animal skin. Sometimes they throw a woolen mantle over their shoulder. So notice here in this book, they're talking about the Indians. They say, hey, sometimes they throw a woolen mantle over their shoulders. Okay. Let me show you another one, though, that says something like that. Broad shoulders, the shoulder, deer skin flaps completed the costume. Oh yeah, right here. It says this is in the history of no, this is in the invasion of Alabama of Hernando de Soto in 1540. Different book, but they're talking about the Hernando de Soto thing. Look, I'm gonna be hitting y'all with a lot of books. But the dress of the females consisted of a mantle thrown over the shoulders with one arm exposed. Sorry, my hand might have been in the way. The mantle with one arm exposed. Okay, and the other one mantle may have encircled the body. Let's go back to what we just saw. Now that, and I probably got a couple more that say that, but let's go back. I wanted you to see that one where it said one arm exposed with a cotton mantle thrown over their shoulder. Okay. Do we have one arm exposed, thrown over the shoulder and wrapped around? Do we have one arm exposed, thrown over the shoulder, wrapped around? Right? Oh, let's go over here. Now here they're wearing it a little bit different, just wrapped around over the shoulder. But we do have a historical way listed of how they wore their mantles. Okay? They have woolly hair. Okay? They don't they're in a fountain of some type. And they got the breastplates. Now some people may not recognize these little breastplates. But I can show you in one of the explorers' books. Now that when they draw these people, they didn't draw them looking like melanated Indians, but they still kept some of the things nonetheless. Some of the things, if I don't have it here, it's on my phone. And I know it's in here too, but Where you at, homeboy? Let me look at my phone real quick. Because it's a picture and it's in a different language, so I won't be able to easily just search that bitch. And I wasn't really thinking about having it up for this one. But I want to, and I might just Google it, because I think it's the Tamuquas that had that on. Let me Google it real quick. Timuqua Indians. I don't think it's gonna come up under that. I think I'm gonna have to type in. I just had it up the other day. I just had the damn thing up because it was in. Okay, here it is. To a degree, but as you can see, when Lemoyne, Lemoyne's book. I got to go pull up his, but right there, you see those chest plates? Here's some chest plates. Now, these people purposely wasn't made with a melanated phenotype when he wrote his book. But here you have over here people with those same breastplates, but they're melanated, because they didn't whitewash this particular one, the one we were looking at. They didn't whitewash that, okay? They left these people melanated. But as you can see, too, like I said, you notice the color of his skin there and the color of that person's skin compared to this brown, but you still see the woolly hair. So I had to say that it must mean melanated. And another reason that made me think that it was melanated, the reason why I'm saying it is because I'm talking about these people down here who have the same skin tone. The reason why I say it must be melanated is because I'm going to take you to another one here pretty soon, and you're going to notice that the YTs don't really have that color. And we're going to come to this map next. But they knew how to draw a YT person without the actual full shading. So my guess is it could be trying to portray the fact that these people had white features but were melanated in some areas. And the reason why I say that is because I have an excerpt here. We'll type it in, mulattoes. And I was just looking at it where it shows right here. Now this came from a book that I translated. I'll have to get you that book, but it says, in the Indian race, let me pull that back. Right there. In the Indian race, there are fewer differences than among others. For example, among the blacks, okay, the Indian race, among the blacks of the Indian race, right? There are some with flattened noses, heavy eyelids, commonly called getudos, whose hair resembles wool. Okay? And that's not it. That's one people. That would be your people in the corner of that photo, right? But look at the next thing down. It says others, talking about other Indian race people whose color is as black as theirs, the same black, right? Have features that are like those of whites. Now notice how I have this and I have that map at the same time. That's the ancestors doing that, because I got both of these. I found this in a book within the last 2 weeks. And then I found this map within the last week. You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't have this, I would have been still kind of confused on that map. I'd be like, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure this is what it means. It says, particularly, so these people are black and they resemble those that have features that resemble the whites, particularly in the mouth, nose, eyes, and the hair is straight, though thick. That would be how they always talk about this. And they say some reddish and others of a lighter color approaching that of mulattoes. When have you ever in your life heard a Siberian native get called a fucking mulatto? Hey, look, man, he look kind of like a mulatto. Hell no, okay? Never, and you never will, right? So we're going to go back to that map. Mm, whoops, back here. Back to the map. So, taking into account what we read from another explorer, the cartographer drew people who were black with woolly hair, right? With those particular features, wide nose, thick lips, right? Or whatever the hell he said, right? But he also drew some somewhat regular nose, but decently thick. Her lips is actually kind of regular. Like, actually, now that I look at it, like almost like some black lips almost. Because let's look at the YT lips real quick. This nigga just drew a line. Just put a little incision in their face. It's a different cartographer too, so it looks like he does his mouth like that also. Period. Even with the blacks a little bit, but it's still kind of funny. But uh, but we see that there's a difference. So we could take what we want. We could take what we want to take about these people, but there's no denying what we see up here, which are the people actually standing on top of the damn continent. So it don't really matter what somebody say about these folks. But when we go to this map, now this map is also confusing. To be honest with you, this map is a little confusing. We are looking at Florida, right? We are looking at Florida, right? Mm. Coming up in here, I don't really see too much. We got Powhatan right there. Our Powhatan right there. And some other stuff. But let's see what we got in these photos, in these illustrations. So at first glance, if you were to first look at this, your first inkling would think, because the YT dude is standing up, you got the black folks sitting down, you got them looking like they either picking cotton or getting something, or not really picking cotton, but handing something to something or whatever. You would think that this is some kind of servitude. Mm. And that's what I was thinking at first, but you can't let your mind just go that way, because nobody's chained up, nobody's in a bad position. And the YT dude is just there standing over them with a smile. So I was like, could they just be there for trade to just, get cotton and stuff from us, and they just talking to us and we just chilling, and he's working and she's dealing with business. I'm not sure. And then you got the other YT man just kind of sitting back there. They don't look like they're mad or giving instructions or anything like that. So then I had to take it out of my head, like, okay, man, I don't think that they're doing anything, I don't think it's any kind of servitude. So then I look over here. Now this started to confuse me, because I'm like, okay, well, we see the obvious melanated folks with the woolly hair, right? But then you got this dude right here with the feathers. And I don't know what that is. Is that supposed to be gray hair? Is that supposed to be the other Indians, right? That's what they were trying to say, right? That's what I was like, what are they trying to say there? But then I started to go down here. Notice there's people down here. Well, let's take a look down at people down there, because they're obviously melanated. Well, here we go. Some more of that woolly hair, right? With the cotton going around his ass. And we got a melanated person there with feathers. But we also, and if that wasn't enough to really understand, because he's not the actual brown color like that, when you go over here, there's no mistaking this. Okay? There's no mistaking that is a brown colored, curly, woolly haired Indian smoking his gas. Let me light one with him. Okay. As he holds his weaponry at your ass if you want to try him. Okay. So I said, well, yeah, he said, well, it worked. Yeah, see? And then you have one behind him, which looks about got to be the same, but I think it's that color because he's shaded because he's further back, but the hair is still woolly, right? So it's like, man, it's like, and then I noticed this, Punta de Carabana. Oh, he's a carrot. Oh. Now I've been trying to figure out what this. So Punto da Guado or Punta de Carabana. So that's your Carabana. I was trying to look up what this Daguada word is, but I didn't look up too much. I just kind of quickly looked it up. But if anybody finds what that Daguada or can recognize what that might be, I would be interested in knowing what that. You know what? I'm tripping. Let's see if ChatGPT can figure it out. I'm tripping. So we're just gonna try to get it up in there as much as possible without the other stuff, and see if ChatGPT can work with that. Translate to English. Let's see if he can work with it, because I'm really curious about that. Punta da Guada or Punta de Carabana. And I thought punta meant bitch, but maybe I don't know what that means. Aguada watering place. Aguada watering place. Is that what it means? ChatGPT having a little problem. Okay, here we go. Cape d'Aguada or Cape Carabana. Never heard of that. Let me see if I can find something on that. It might even say what it is. Cape d'Aguada, also spelled. Somebody just said that. Aguada, you was right. Who is that? Molly Gabbalee, you on here with the game. All right, Money Gabby. What up, Cheap EJ Smoking? What's happening? Lord Lax, what's happening? So yeah, she was on it. She was on it. That's what's up. So Punta da Guada, also spelled Aguada, was an alternative early colonial name, possibly referring to a fresh water source. Aguada, watering place near the Cape. Man, you own it. Okay. Let me see if I can find that on a map at all anymore, or in online real quick. Because when I Googled it earlier, I didn't type it that way. Punta Aguada. Why is it saying it in Spanish? Punta Aguada, Puerto Rico. Ah, really? So they're saying Puerto Rican or Caribana or Carib is what it's kind of look. Yeah, look at that. Map of Puerto Rico, Aguada Municipality. We learned something else here off the map. All right, then. Somebody said Punta de Guada. Yep. Syria, Isaiah, 1925 Israel. What you talking about there? Why'd you type it twice? What you trying to say? Assyrian's language, two kings, we understand it. I don't know. What are you talking about? Omar? You really kind of going hard on some Israel scriptures real quick for whatever reason. Wasn't that in the Carolinas? Was Aguada in the Carolinas? Or are you talking about what he's talking about, the Syria Isaiah thing? But yeah, no. So on this map down here, right here, they're saying Puerto Rican or Carib. Port of Riches, Puerto Rico, yep, is the rich port, Port of Riches. Because when they first landed there, they said it was a ton of gold. They basically took as much gold out of that bitch as possible. And they came to the mainland. Some of the Spaniards came to the mainland of Florida, one of the first ones that came up there, and stole some of us from Florida to go down there to mine the gold. The story goes, I don't think it might have been Lucas Vasquez de Alian. But But I think it was about him. I think it might have been Wande Gravahalia before him, right before him, or somebody. But one of them two, or somebody of the, one of them, when they pulled up, the story goes when they pulled up to Florida. We'll do it like this. So they were doing, they were mining, in the island. So they would pull up to Florida through the coast and entice the Indians to come kick it with them. First, the Indians took off running, and then one of them came up and tried to befriend them. That's why y'all need to stop doing that. And when y'all tried to be the friend, they gave that person a bunch of gifts, and so she went back with the gifts, and brought ended up bringing a bunch more people. They all got comfortable. It was like, well, fuck it, let's go kick it with them on the boat. So when they kicked it with them on the boat, and they got the boat full of a bunch of Indians, they hurried up and dropped the anchor, or picked up the anchor, whatever you call it, and took the fuck off, and forced their ass to go to the It's a pretty fucked up ordeal. And that was in the early time. So when people say like we wasn't going back and forth with the islands, and look, man, from the earliest of the early time, they were taking people off the goddamn mainland, okay, to come fucking go down there and get some of the riches that was down there, all the gold and shit that was down there. They said they thought they was in India. No, they knew where they was at. They knew exactly where they was at. Christopher Columbus, and for those who don't know, I got so many different references for that. His wife, let me put that, Philippa. Here's a particular book. Doña Felipa was the wife of Christopher Columbus. Now, the wife of Christopher Columbus, her dad was a navigator already of the seas. Christopher Columbus was a cartographer. He drew maps, and so did Philippa. She would draw the maps for her father. Now, it comes over here where it says Philippa. Move this back. Y'all can get the screenshot. Philippa also entertained Columbus about accounts of her own voyages with her father, together with his opinions and those of other navigators of that age, his friends and companions, of a possible country that might be discovered in the distant West. Now, if they knew they were trying to get to India, they wouldn't be talking about a possible country to discover in the West. They would be talking about taking my ass to the West to find India, right? But that's one thing, right? That's one book. We also have another book where it says, we'll type in the word Spain. I think that'll pull it up pretty easy. One of these here. Right here. So this was another book that I translated from 1500s, and there's the Latin or whatever the hell it is, right? So you can see how official it is. It says, it seems to me that Columbus, long before he came to Spain, had already thought of where the Indies was located, and that he had long sought after the writings of Seneca, speaking of ships crossing across the ocean to find something to discover. Sounds like they're not looking for India. Sounds like they know what they looking for. And he knew of other people who had already been to the Indies, which they talk about up here. The Carthaginian merchants sailing from the Straits of Gibraltar toward the west after many days found a large uninhabited island. They described it as fertile with navigable rivers, and I have cited some of those authors that I mentioned above. This was not Christopher Columbus, but he was well aware of it. He was aware of the Carthaginians going to the Indies. He was also aware of another pilot who had died in his home who had went to the Indies before that too. So nobody was talking about going to India. That shit didn't come around to even in the I even got a book from 1899. Actually, that book that I just read y'all, not this one, the book that I just read y'all about Don Felipe, this book right here, and this is in the history of the Chickasaw, Choctaws, and the Chickasaw. I was reading about some Indians, and even in this 1899 book, this nigga was saying, oh no, Christopher Columbus knew where he was going. So I had to say, well, goddamn, When the hell did this story come about? Because the 1551 book said he knew where he was going. The 1889 book said he knew where he was going. So that means from 1551 to at least 1899, them niggas saying he knew where he was going. So where in the hell of the 1900s did these motherfuckers come up with this fake ass India story? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't getting on to you, even if you're still in here, but I just got to go on to the facts and show the folks real fast. Let me see what y'all was saying down here. Columbus was just lost. No, he was not lost. Did you not see? Her dad was a navigator and told him to go to the west to find the land. They had a house together, actually. Let me show you. They said that her dad left her a house in the Canary Islands. Not the Canary Islands, in Santa Maria. No, not the Santa Maria. That's the name of that goddamn boat. I'll show you where the islands is. It's on that page. But her dad left her a house that they lived in together. So they're from Spain, right? Well, the dad left a house to them in Madeira. Yeah. There's a Porto Santo. There it is. Porto Santo. So her dad had a house and left her and Christopher Columbus a house in Porto Santo. Now, why is that important? Because whenever Christopher Columbus or anybody sailed to the new land, they went from Spain to the Canary Islands, or they may even stop sometimes in Madeira. From Madeira to the Canary Islands, which there's a Christopher Columbus house, where he also had a house in the Canary Islands, and there's a museum there now. We'll go to that after this. And when you hit the Canary Islands right off the coast, you go west until you hit goddamn land. You see where you're going to hit? Right where he hit. He had a damn house right next to that bitch. So if somebody were to tell you that he was lost, let me even show you where he said, if all I got to do is just hit the equator. Okay? He just said, all I got to do is hit this goddamn equator and go west, and I'm going to find me some niggas. Hold up. I think that's in my phone. Like, how many? Look. I should be like on some kind of Christopher Columbus debate, nigga. National debate. I would crush people on the Columbus story. And I don't blame y'all for not knowing, because even the professors don't know. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you how the professors don't know while I look this up right here.
15th century Europe to get cultures.
Hold on, it's right here.
Most people, even professors, know very little about Columbus. Very few have read his diary, his letters, and his memos. Before I began my research, I too knew hardly anything about him except in 1492, he sailed the ocean blue. I really knew nothing more than that, and I never thought I would write a book about him. So here's how it began. In the fall of 1999, I was
All right. So there we go again. Even the professor at Philadelphia University, and this is an edu.gov website that I got this video off of. I think it says down there at the bottom. Look at that. Roger Williams University. Even she says, I don't know a goddamn thing but the kindergarten tale of Columbus. So I don't get mad that people, don't know nothing about him. But let me also show you another thing about Columbus here real quick. You see right here? It says this is his third voyage to Trinidad and the Saint Domingue, right? And it says right here, let me highlight where I'm going to read. Right here. Whoops. Goodness. Down here, okay? From various considerations, he was induced to take a different route from that pursued in his former expeditions. He had been assured by persons who had traded to the east that the rarest objects of commerce, such as gold, precious stones, drugs, and spices, were chiefly to be found in the region about the equator, where the inhabitants were black and darkly colored, and that until he arrived among people of such complexions, it is not probable he would find those articles in great abundance. What is that saying? He says, hey, until I find these niggas, I'm not going to be able to get none of that there gold, drugs, and spices. Okay? And with the stones and stuff, I gotta hold back on the D word. But we looking for these black Negroes along the equator, going to the west. Not no Indians from India, okay, which is Hindustan, okay. It was the real India. And we're actually going to show that. I'm going to show that too real fast. Look, this is done turned into a Christopher Columbus crush. Okay, but let me finish reading this last part. Columbus expected to find such people more to the south and southeast. He recollected that the natives of Hispaniola had spoken of black men. Black men, okay? It's not like we didn't just see it up there. Just a little extra, dramatic. Who had once come to their island from the south. The heads of whose javelins were of guanine and of adulterated gold. Blah, blah, blah. They were from the Carib Islands. So some of the Caribs is where he starts to go into. Talks about Cuba, talking about all this other stuff, okay? Now if that ain't enough to, make you, want to understand what's going on here with the Christopher Columbus thing, I'm going to blow one other thing at you real quick. Let me just find it. Where the hell you at? Oh, here we go. Okay, there we go. So, this is the Casa de Colón. Where is the Casa de Colón? In Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. Okay? Where is that? The Canary Islands. Exactly right before you go west to hit you're at the equator before you hit the Americas. So inside of the Casa de Colón, you have books, right? You got things like that, but you also got maps. You notice that map on the wall? Well, let's see if we can take a little quick look at that map. That there map in the House of Cologne in the Canary Islands at the equator where this nigga was looking for niggas says that America is India superior and that South America is India inferior. It's kind of, do I got a closer? That one's kind of, here's one. It's not so, India superior. Okay. So did he know where he was going? Sorry, y'all. All right. So did he know where he was going? Yeah, he was going to India. Y'all just didn't think this was India anymore. Y'all just didn't think some people called this India. Y'all just think that people just call us Indians and West Indians and stuff for the fun of it. Because they accidentally thought, he got lost. And the idiotic stuff, sorry, not calling y'all idiots, but the idiotic part about that is that what you're trying to say is that every explorer that came on the shores after him also called Indians, thinking that they looked like them fake Indians, not fake Indians, but the Indians over there as lost. He was lost. Can't even change my view. Oh, if I can't change your view, then you need to change your motherfucking live stream. Get the fuck off mine. No, what reason he was? He literally was a navigator, and they was drawing maps. his wife was drawing maps that her dad left, and her dad told her about the goddamn area where it was at. What do you? That's not enough. He still didn't know. He didn't know you could just go one way and keep going, and all of a sudden it was gonna be some new thing right there. You just got to go one place. It ain't like there's a road map. You turn west and you go. What the fuck is wrong with people? You got to be the dumbest person in the world to think it's hard to do that. The only hard part is, can you sustain the winds and the motherfucking weather as you go across that bitch? It ain't hard to figure out how to get across that motherfucker. Go that way, nigga. You see where the sun sets? Doesn't it set in the west? Yeah, it sets the west. And the sun sets in the goddamn west. You got a sun every day telling you where to go. Oh, nigga, is you heading toward the sun? Yeah. Oh, you going the right way, nigga. You going the right goddamn way. Nigga was drawing maps and all this other shit, had compasses and shit, and could follow the sun, but he was lost. Where am I at, nigga? Am I going north? Nigga, follow the sun. Oh, turn this bitch around. Niggas is crazy. Niggas is crazy than a motherfucker to keep believing some bullshit. Oh my God. People got to be idiotic than a motherfucker, dude. This is what I do. I just clown niggas, man. You just got to clown a nigga at some point. Because they got to hear how idiotic they sound at some point. And they'll sit there. You like, it's different. I don't mind clowning you a little bit. I don't bring you up to clown. All about clown a little bit on here because I make y'all look hella stupid in real life. Like when it's verbally back and forth and you just like typing stuff or talking, you pretty much look stupid. It's the ones that be like, I don't like going back and forth with people on Twitter because on Twitter, all you gonna end up doing is all the trolls end up doing is just always keep coming back with something else. And it's just always, it's almost like all they doing is copying and pasting comments that they done already trolled on other motherfuckers in the past, right? So they like, okay, I'm gonna just hit you with this copy paste. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to, debunk some people like that. But when y'all come up to my live stream, I actually like to do it because it actually can become informational for the people in my live stream. My bad, I'm over here rolling. I haven't looked at y'all going in, but it can actually be beneficial to people in the live stream to see the information that I pull up, because I'm gonna hit you with source after source after source after source, and some of these people may not have ever seen these sources before. But on top of that, you look like a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? You look like a hella dumb kindergarten dumbass. Like, oh yeah, he lost. I don't think he could follow the sun and shit like that. Yeah, he grew up drawing maps and having goddamn compasses and shit. And yeah, he married a navigator's daughter and shit. And yeah, they told him about going west or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But the nigga didn't know where he was going. He still thought he was trying to find India over there with the Hindus and shit. You know what I'm saying? He was drunk. He was drunk driving. You ain't never drunk drove a goddamn ship? Yeah, the nigga was going southwest the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And then when he went southwest the whole time, he actually ended up going under South America. And he had to curve his ass back on up to India. You know what I'm saying? Such a stupid ass up, nigga. Oh my God. That gave me time to roll another one while we get back on this lesson. Oh boy, these people, boy, like, come on, man. It ain't like you got to figure out which road to go down. Do I make a left or a right here? Nigga, it's an ocean. Because wide than a motherfucker. Where you think we turning, nigga? Shit. Let me shut the fuck up, man. This nigga's getting said a nigga got lost on the ocean, man. Boy, and he got lost on this. And think about this too, y'all. That he made 4 voyages. So not only did he get lost going to India, America, but he made his way back to Spain, right? Again, he got lost going to that bitch. This ain't Asia. Oh shit, let me go back. This nigga's stupid. Just dumb. Everything just dumb. Where that person at? If they comment one more time, I'm gonna block their ass. That's just dumb. These are currents that take you. There are currents that take you from the west coast of Africa. Yep, there really is. Yep, and that's what they were. That's what they were catching, those currents and take it straight there. They say, and when I read about it in some of the books too, because I already knew about it in modern day times and shit like that. But even in the books, they talked about it. Like if you were to toss something right there or whatever in the ocean, it'll pretty much eventually make its way on over that way. He definitely knew where he was going. That's why he went south to catch the current. Didn't it say, yeah, because and also to avoid the cold area, going down toward that equator at least gives you warmth all the way through there. And they talked about that too. Didn't it say it was his third trip? He made 4 trips. That last book I just read said it was his third trip, but the first couple, there was one book or the second book that I read was talking about his first trip. All right, let's get on this, because these people is crazy. Okay, and when I say like stuff, like I take stuff like this. Excuse me. I be taking stuff like this and toss it in the chat GPT, and getting it translated. So yeah, I be going deep on the translations, and deep on the history. But we're going all right. So we're gonna go back to the map-os, because there was that. We might have almost pretty much gone through that map. Okay, so we went through this map, we went through that map, and we went through this map. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to see on this map, I think it's on here. Yeah, it's on there. Let me just see if anything else. We're gonna look, but you see, this is Florida. Now we're looking at a map that's inside. Also, we're still inside the French archives, the French website archives. Okay, and over here on this map, you will see Chicola or Chicora. Okay, Chicora. So Chicora, and as you can see, I was about to say, I think that's Charles Fort, but that would be where Charlestown is at. Will eventually be. But this is your South Carolina area, Georgia, and the Florida coast. This is your Geechee zone, right? So we see that there. We're going to come to another map over here. There's another map I want to show you. Let's see. Not that one. Well, we'll come back. I think I showed y'all her. Okay, here's a map. So my thing was, now this map I got out of the BND Digital Portugal government. So this is the Portugal government archives where I got this map. So this is like when I be on this, I don't do things hardly at all if it ain't decently official. Coming from a government website, EDU website, even if it's overseas, I'm finding the government website overseas archives to be able to find the goddamn documents. Okay, so that way it's so damn official. Can't nobody just be like, oh, you just got a screenshot from a website. This some Wikipedia shit. Okay, ain't nobody, whatever. Okay, so one thing to take note of. This map says, I think it came from 1659. It doesn't have a year listed here, but when I was looking at it, I think it says 1659. But you notice the dotted outline. My goal, the reason why I was like even doing this, going through and finding all these maps, first of all, let me say that. The reason why I was doing this is because I'm doing the information or this documentary about the Geechees. And I knew that the area was called Chicora before it was called South Carolina. Let me show y'all that before I show y'all this. That the area Now, I already showed y'all the map that said Chicora, but I want to show you the receipt that the area is called Chicora. Where's my damn? Too many receipts, man. So here's a book called the Chicora Chronicles that I found. Okay, right? And even in the Chicora Chronicles, you're talking about let's see, right here, Chicora has been bobbling up and down or whatever documents in South Carolina coastal area for generations without prompting much inquiry. Whatever. It don't really say it on here, but that's the name of this area. As you on the map behind them, it says Chicora, right there on the map behind them. But also, just to show you, I believe I probably got it on my phone, but we can just Google it real quick. Chicora. Can refer to a legendary Native American Indian kingdom in South Carolina, a Confederate naval vessel, or places like the whatever. It also appears to be the name of historical figures, whatever, Francisco de Chicora, but it was the name of a kingdom, legendary kingdom. Chicora was a legendary Indian kingdom or tribe in present-day South Carolina, notable for its first contact with Spanish explorers in 1520. So I knew about the first time I heard about Chicora, just to even throw it out there, Chicora is Christopher Columbus, back on Columbus, okay, on his first voyage to the Lucayan Islands, which is now the Bahamas. Okay, so when Christopher Columbus first landed, he landed in the Bahamas. Okay, and it says many men came to the Bahamas, like those from Florida, Chicora, and Yucatan. I didn't know what Chicora was at that time. I looked it up during this time when I looked into this book, found out it was South Carolina. Once I found out it was South Carolina, that really blew my head open on like the whole Geechee thing and everything that's going on. Like Chicora, I never knew there was another name for it. You know, I thought it was just the Indian landmass area or something like that. And there was other talks about Chicora. There was this dude talking about giants and all this other stuff. Well, let me go back to the map. The reason why I was going through all of these maps is I wanted to find when did Carolina get outlined. Like in here, as you can see, well, that's the map. Hold up, that's that map. As you can see, there's no outline for Carolina right there. There is a Charlestown, but there's no outline of Carolina. This is around, I know that ain't 1745, because that had to be earlier. Then you got stuff like this, where Carolina was also just getting dotted right there. But then you'd have stuff like this, where there is no Carolina. It's just Virginia and Florida, because that's what it was before. It was Virginia, Florida, Louisiana. Okay. Then it started getting all carved up. Earlier map. This is an earlier map. You don't see Carolina, but you do see Chicora. So we do see it on a map. So nobody's lying about it was it was not there. It was there. This is in the French stuff. So this is why I was doing this. As you can see here, even though I don't see Chicora, I do not see Carolina, Virginia, and Florida. That's what it was before. And that's when you see our folks on it. See, the further I kept going back, the more I kept finding us. Funny how that worked, right? And then when I went over to this and went back even further, I did not see a Carolina, okay? But you do see, no, you don't see none of that, but you do see our people, okay? So that's funny. The further you go, the other way in time, further, if you go back, the further you find us, the further forward you go, the less they stop drawing people on the map. You know what I'm saying? But let's stop, you know what? Let's stop doing that practice. We don't need to do that anymore. We kind of got a good idea on where everybody is. So let's kind of stop that, right? Peace, Jimmy. What's up? What's up? So was that Guinea? I didn't see Guinea that I can remember. Columbus made a fort in North Haiti, which is North Haiti for. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. What's up, Fadi? I didn't see you up in here. 1492. Giants and dragons are real. I believe it. I definitely heard things about the dragons, and for sure about the giants. Shakur. Black, really? I have to look into that. Hmm. Mm. I'm here for those maps all day. Yeah, man. Get your screenshots on. I wish I can get it all in here, but so the further we go back, you don't have South Carolina. The further we go forward, all of a sudden you start getting South Carolina dotted out. This is the map, but notice what's on the map now. We got Zeus on that bitch, you know what I'm saying? Or Poseidon. And some niggas that look like they, off of meth on the motherfucking, Skid Row. Shit, whatever. I don't know. But damn sure ain't what was on the map before. You know what I'm saying? It damn sure ain't what was on the map before. But okay, now they're starting to carve it up, right? Now you got Carolina being carved up, Maryland being carved up. And they're labeling out all the little areas and shit. So it's funny. Y'all see how that worked? I just gave y'all a skip through time. Look, it started off with niggas. To see how that's me going even further back. Because this was really far back. That probably was like, this is probably like 1500s map or some shit. Or early 1600s. But yeah. So as you can see, it's like, we go through, it's us, we there, we chilling. They come in. And you see, they wasn't even in that bitch. They wasn't in this bitch. We thought it was them, but that's not them. They wasn't in this bitch. They wasn't in this bitch. They start showing up. They kick niggas ass. Then they put themselves. Oh, we been here. We been here. Yeah. It's America, guys. You can't look. What these niggas is crazy. Okay. Okay. So as we just go through those maps, so now we've established that Carolina was Chicora prior to we've established Carolina was Chicora prior to it becoming the Carolinas. Now, why is that important? Why the hell can I find what the hell? We were just looking at it. I was literally just looking at it. And a lot of times it just be me skipping over things. So we're going to start here. So now we know it's called Chicora. We know why. We know Christopher Columbus met with some Chicorans. So we know from 1492 up until at least about 1650-ish, when they started dotting out the Carolina landmass, that we know up until that point it was called Chicora. And well before 1492, obviously, right? But we know at least when we're looking at documents between those years, that's what we should be referencing, not South Carolina or the Carolinas. So why is that important? Because when you look into the Voyagers books, they're not going to be referencing Carolina. They're going to be referencing Chicora. And if you don't know that, you wouldn't go look for it. See? But this is just a chronicle. Because reason why I pulled this up, because in this chronicle, it talks about a particular voyager named Peter Martyr. Now, Peter Martyr is one of the first people they say that made contact somewhat over here, or wrote about it, one of the two, because I think it was one of the Spanish explorers that came and he just wrote the accounts of them. But I have and already had that book for months, to be honest, months before I even got to this point. So I I had to go do some digging, but I already knew about Peter Martyr. That's his book, but Peter Martyr was listed in another book talking about his book, which is in this book. The reason why I knew about Peter Martyr is because I read this book, which talked about Peter Martyr. Okay. And this is an important page, one of the most important in the book with his name on it. Let me read the paragraph to you. And again, we're referencing the South Carolina, Florida area in a sense, even though he's going to be also talking about the Isthmus of Darien right here, which is the Panama area. But Peter Martyr was talking about people throughout this thing looking the same. So it says, in America, in other parts of America, if reliance can be placed upon the correctness of the relation a race of blacks were seen so early at a period of our history that it seems impossible to avoid the conclusion that they were aboriginal. Okay? Saying that a race of blacks in America are aboriginal, right? Peter Martyr, in his book, in describing the journey of Balboa across the Isthmus of Darien, Panama Canal area. See, if you don't know that, you wouldn't know to look for that, right? Again, that's why the name, knowing these names, but that's why they change these names on us on purpose, in order for us to not know. The Isthmus of Darien, AD 1511, gives the following history. There is a region not above 2 days' journey from Quarry whatever, in which they found only blackamoors, and those exceeding fierce and cruel. The circumstances of finding them there he attempted to explain by conjecture that they were Ethiopians, okay, who had crossed the Atlantic and robbed the country after being shipwrecked, and they had compelled to take the natives and refuge in the mountains and blah, blah, blah. Basically, he tried to make a whack story saying, well, I came to this place and there's nothing but black folk over here. But how do I explain this? Well, maybe there was a bunch of Ethiopians that came over here, and when they got shipwrecked, they couldn't go back, so they fucked all the regular light skinned Indians out of existence. That'd be the type of same shit they say today. And so all of a sudden, whatever. But on the next page right here, it says that all of this is pure guesswork, which we shall not attempt to disprove, for it is not more than plausible than the supposition that they are aboriginal. It is only interesting to us to inquire whether they're in fact really represented Balboa or whatever. But basically, they said it was so absurd, they're not even going to try to attempt to debunk the dude, because that's more absurd to think that than it is to think that these people were aboriginal. So they even doubled down on saying that these people are aboriginal black people in the motherfucking area, okay? So let's jump back to Chikora. So now we got another bit of an idea. We got Peter Martyr listing on this thing about Chikora, right? And on Chikora, Peter Martyr talks about areas having only black folks. We have maps in the same area going way back showing black folks in this area, right? So we know there's a lot of references to black folks and Indians, right? In this Chikora zone, right? But let's keep going. Why is that important? Well, this area is your Chikora area. These are your Geechee areas. But notice Geechee is just one river, but the Geechees live along this area. Could have been named after any of these rivers, and we're going to get to that. The reason why, I'll say this, two reasons why I wanted to know, two answers I needed to answer before I could do my documentary that got me on this path. One, When did the place go from being called Chicora to South Carolina? And we kind of figured that out, okay? Two, when did these people start getting called Geechee? Or were they always called Geechee? Were they Uchis? No. Ogeechee means river of the Uchis. There were some Uchis there, but all of them there wasn't necessarily Uchie. I had to figure that out. I had to find when was the first time they started calling these people anything. Maybe they were called Geechees and Uchis. I just needed to find references. What could I find? And I'm gonna show y'all where that led me. It led me to remember. I was going through all kind of shit, but it led me to remember that Queen Quet had a video. And in her video of a recent video, I knew that she was talking. My bad. Let me look down there. Yamasi. Yeah, Yamasi is one of the tribes. Just to give you a hint, there is actually, before we get to it, there's actually 500 tribes that lived along that coast. Not just Yuchi, not just Yamasi. There's going to be some called Palawamas. There's going to be some called Kusos. There's going to be some called Stono. And there was a Stono rebellion. That's a whole nother story. There was 500 tribes actually that lived along that coast. So what I'm getting to is, and yeah, he said they got to read exactly Cusabo, and we're gonna get to Cusabo too, because that's very, very. That's another nugget. So real quick, my thing was, I felt like, and I'm 100% sure of it now, all of these tribal names, the 500 tribe names that used to exist, all got grouped together on purpose under Geechee. Now they're trying to erase the Geechee part, of course, but it first starts with a major wide erasure. So to put it in another similar sense of how that happened in another area, the Creek Indians. The Creek Indians were a bunch of different Indian tribes that all got banded eventually under together the term Creek. Well, now calling them Creek erases the idea in most people's heads over time of who they were, which were Shawnees, Uchis, and some other tribes. But when you label them Creek or Geechees, you erase the large band of uniqueness that there was of names that came about. And there was a time frame around the 1650s, or actually 1750s time frame, which we'll get to, where we're going to see is where they go from being known by their indigenous name tribes to being called Geechees all of a sudden, and stop being labeled what they are. And I'm going to show you right here. This is just to show you. These are some of those tribe names to show you what I found. You had the Ashipo, the Bohique, the Kumbahi, the Edistos. A lot of these are names of those islands over there. Edisto Island, Emescamacao, whatever, which is now St. Helena Island, Etowan Island, Hoya, like the Georgetown Hoyas, right? Kiowa, Kusa, which is misspelled right there on purpose. We'll get to that. Kuso, misspelled on purpose. Mayon, Sampa, Sui, Stono, like the Stono Rebellion. Tupa, Wando, Wimby, Witanga, but this isn't even 500 of them, right? But let me show you this. It has dates of when they're first mentioned in books and dates of when they're last mentioned in books. Why is that important for me? Well, the first thing is, okay, this gives you an idea that these people were being talked about. But what did I say? By 1750, none of these names are being mentioned anymore. What happened to the names? They're Yamasi, Guale, well, really all Geechee now, mostly. But they might have been grouped under Yamasis, the Wale. Wale wasn't really they wouldn't be grouped under Wale. Wale was a language, as I'll show y'all that real quick. While it was a language, not a tribe, as you can see here, I'll show you two things about it. Spoke a common language, the Wando River. This was talking about the Cusabos right here, but they spoke a common language that was different from Wale and Sui languages. So the Cusabo spoke a different language from the Wale and Sui languages. So that's why I say a lot of it can be referred to sometimes as a tribe, just like Muskogee is referred to as a tribe, but technically Muskogee is a language. So it does happen that way. People over time, people have changed these things, but Muskogee was never a tribal name. It was always the language, just the language that the Choctaw speak. We're a Muskegon speaking people. Um, but this is Seahawks Kusaboan. So this is like super super deep. When I say this is like grounds for like hardly nobody knows this shit like this, y'all right now and myself are some of the few that will know this. Like Queen Quet, and I'm gonna let y'all hear her video. She doesn't know this, and the only way I found this out was through her, in a sense, because I'm gonna show you this real quick, and then we're gonna watch her video. There's Daltar Island and Palawama Island. Well, these are the names of Indian names. That's actually the name of an Indian chief, Chief Daltar, and they misspelled it on purpose because it's spelled another way, and we'll have to get to that. And then they try to change things on stuff. But Palawama, well, Queen Quet's people, her mom's side and dad's side, come from both of these. She's gonna tell us this. Well, this is the Geechee lady, right? She believes she was African, but her mom's side and her dad's side are Indians, and she's gonna go into this. But once I found these names, that's what blew it all open for me, because I started Googling this. When I Googled that, I found the Daltar website, daltar.org. I found a book by Peter Martyr, right? So didn't I just show y'all Peter Martyr again? Okay. Even on the Daltar website, they got Peter Martyr, okay? And they have this book in Latin or whatever. And I actually, like, literally, to show y'all how much I'm trying to go deep into this. You see this passage? This is the passage where it says Dartha. Remember I said that they changed they spell it Dataw, but it was Darth or Datha. I'm sorry, Datha. Datha. Okay, and that's King Datha or chief, but King Datha. But also I noticed up here Chikora and the Chikorian people. The Chikoras, okay? So I've already translated this page, but I have to read this whole thing, right? I can't find the page number. There's no page number. And when I look, I'm gonna tell y'all before I went live, this is what I had to do. There's multiple versions of this book, okay? And I had to find I finally found at least one of the decently oldest ones. But this one is one, I thought I had found the earlier one, but it wasn't in Latin. So I was like, it's not going to be pure likely if it's not in Latin. So I found me the other one in Latin. There's 600 and some odd pages. And I was literally going through this bitch tab by tab until I can find the section that says goddamn Chikora and Datha in there, because I gotta read this bitch, you know what I'm saying? And I'll read a lot of this book later, but I at least want to read the few pages prior to this, or at least the whole chapter, basically, and anything else after this. So when I say like your boy be like super trying to get deep into it and trying to find what I can find, you know what I'm saying? I won't be playing. But either way, this is Peter Martyr, the same guy that said that they were Blackamoors, the same guy that was on the Chikoran article website, the same guy that was in another book and whatever, right? They're talking about him on the Daltar website. That was the first thing that blew me for a loop. And I had to click a few things to get to this, but that was the first thing, right? So I was like, okay, bet. So, next thing you know, I'm looking at this, okay? And it said the 19 American Indian tribes. So I was like, okay. So they was like, oh, there was 19 tribes living along the coast. Now, mind you, later on, I find out there's 500. And if it sounds crazy, 500, let me explain what 500 simply it means by tribes. 500 tribes is just 500 families. Okay, you can have 500 families living shit within a 3, 4, 5 block radius if you really wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like 500 homes, right? Well, I wouldn't say just homes. It'd be more than that because you have like some extended family, right? But 500 families. So just think about it like that. Now it seems more realistic. Okay, there were 500 surnames out there. There were Indian surnames or tribal names who were all grouped under something called Cusabos. We're going to get to that. I didn't find out about the Cusabos yet until I saw this. They were saying, hey, one example of one of these tribes, hopefully I ain't going too fast for y'all, but one of these examples of one of these tribes, I got to keep my eye on the time. What time is it? Hold on. 7, 8, 9. Okay, okay, I got a little time. All right. One example from close to home is Kusa Island. Well, like I said, a lot of these indigenous names are the name of the islands over there. And they say just north of us, the island is named after the Kusa tribe. So the first things first, two things I noticed off top. I noticed the word Kusa without the W. Kusa. I've seen that before, and I'm going to get to that. But then I noticed it was changed right here. I said, why would you change it to Kussah instead of just keeping it the way it is, right? Because this would likely be, if the island is named after that, that's likely the indigenous name of the indigenous people, right? So this whole tribe is likely the fake tribe they're trying to come up with for a little bit later before they erased it again. But either way, that's what was in my mind. But let me show you Kusa. Let me show you Kusa. I knew that I had that already in a book, the Hernando de Soto book. Let me find it right here. No, not that. That one talked about the Kusa rivers. Right here. The letter of Hernando de Soto. Now, this is an excerpt about his letter. As you can see, Kusa clearly there, right? So now we're getting on to some deep shit. So first, think about this. We're just going into what one of these tribes are within the coast of the Geechee area. We haven't even covered all the tribes, but this is going to lead us to the main thing. This is where it led me, and I'm going to show you how. So now we know about the Kusa tribe, and it says, hey, Carlos, let me get that. Hey, Carlos or Carlos is explained to me as an abbreviation for the Choctaw. That's Choctaw for the people who don't know. That's the original name of Choctaw Indians, Choctaw. Okay, so the Carlos is an abbreviation of the Choctaw word. Whoops. Let's get this up so y'all can see it. The Choctaw word Kalalusa, Lusa, which signifies strong and black. Those who know about Tuscaloosa means warrior black or black warrior. Tusca, warrior, Lusa, black. Kala is strong, Lusa is black. He says, I am inclined to think that Kusa, the name of a river in Alabama and of a tribe that formerly lived on its banks. So we know that this talks about the Kusa tribe in this spelling at an early time period. This book is from 1551. Have the same meaning. Charlevoix, which is a French explorer that went over there, and I've read some of his book, who was wrecked on the island near the southeastern coast of the peninsula in the year 1722, speaks of the inhabitants thereof having skins the darkest red plus rouge of Indians he had seen. He had seen some of the darkest Indians he had ever seen in the area of the Kusa. Okay? So let's just establish this fact. Everybody's saying they see black folk. Okay? Everybody's saying this shit. Even Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus described the people of looking of the colors of cooked medlars. I don't want to pull that up right now, but cooked medlars colors is the color of like meat, basically. So like a bronze. So Kusa. So now we know Kusa, right? Well, I went and started doing history on Kusa. Where did I go? Where did it take me first? Did it take me there? And you know what? I need to play this Queen Quet thing for y'all. But I want to keep going because I kind of got y'all on a. We'll do it right after I get through this. So from the Kusa, knowing that that's so, let me go back. My bad. To explain how Kusa means black from Lusa. Kusa, because that's very important. Because he said it's an abbreviation of it. So basically, Kusa is strong. Is the word strong and black? It's basically taking off the Allah and the Lu and just basically Kusa instead of Kalalusa or Kalusa, because there's also some Kalusa Indians, which would be the same thing, kind of taking off that. It's almost like depending on how people would say it, right? Depending on your dialect, you may shorten things over time. So that's why he said, I believe that Kusa is an abbreviation of Kalalusa because it signifies strong and black, and there was a bunch of strong and black niggas in the area. So Kusa is just Kalulusa or Kalusa or Kusa over time. So that's where Kusa comes from. Okay, so let me get off of that. And now we're going to go to where, how did I get to the Cusabo? This is important because it's on a government website talking about the Kusa Indians. I can't remember how I found Cusabo. I think I was looking at one of these something, but long story short, Cusabo was one of these. How did I find Cusabo? That's a good question. Hold on, Cusabo. Let me just see what all I got under Cusabo. I think it's when I just Googled Kusa. I think when I Googled Kusa, Cusabo might have eventually popped up. And I was like, Cusabo? Because then, yeah, there's the wiki for Cusabo. Oh, yeah. I know how I found it. I know what made me think about it. Right here. It wasn't when I did Kusa. I Googled Dalta, which we went down the rabbit hole for Dalta, King Dalta. And I actually didn't even show y'all how he was a chief. But Palawana was the next thing I did. And I remember just looking down here and I saw it said Lost Tribes of American Indians, Cusabo. And I was like, Cusabo? I was like, it's Kusa, but with Bo added on it. You know what I'm saying? Easily I seen that. I was like, it's Kusa, but with Bo and spelled with a U instead of a O. And I was like, what's up with that? So I Googled that. All right. And that brought me to, let me pull up the wiki instead of my screenshots. Cusabo. I did this I did a lot of this on a live stream, to be honest with you. I had like a 6-hour live stream where I did this shit on. It was crazy. And so here was Cusabo right here. And so when we Googled it, we saw Cusabo. And I saw this map. And you see where the Cusabo area is. It's in the same area. Parts listed as Yamasi, parts listed as Cusabo. And I actually already had this map saved in my iPad. But when I was going down, now under Cusabo, I find the names of the other tribes. That's why that was important. Two reasons why it's important. One, I had to give you the definition from the 1500s to show you that the word Kusa means black. Okay? And now when you see Cusabo, you know, okay, these are black people likely, right? But then when we look right here, it says the Cusabo were a group of American Indian tribes who lived along the road, whatever. And then when we go down here, Indian settlements lived along South Carolina, right? So we know what we're talking about in Charleston by the Savannah River. We know we're talking about the right thing. So I was like, okay, bet. They said these are some language things or whatever. So we'll go down here and it says there's sub-tribes of the Cusabo. Now, before we go into the sub-tribes, let me show you this because I didn't do this earlier. King Da. I don't know why I didn't pull up the little AI thing that it did before, but whatever. Dalto, spelling, blah, 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 blah. Where the word Cusabo? Chikora. He's Cusabo. I'm trying to find where it says it so y'all can see it. And she says it too. Queen Quet says it. But and that, let me do it like this. How did I do it? Data American Indian. I think that's what I had like Googled. History play King Data Island Indigenous. At one point, I have found. Let me just do Chief Data. And I thought I may have. Well, let me put it the right way then. Chief Data. Like the two misspelling. He was born Chief does. No, King. Okay, here we go. King Data, legendary chief, present day South Carolina, Island, South Carolina, Indian Hill. It ain't really the chiefdom, hereditary chief group. I really would like to find where it says he's the chief of the Cusabo. But long story short, where the hell did I see that shit? Or was it on here? Let me see. It might be on here. Let me control F and find if Datha is on this page. Because I want y'all to see everything that I saw. Datha. You'll hear her say it. You'll hear her say it. But long story short, goddamn it, the nigga was the king or chief of the Cusabo. You know what? It might be on this in the book that I translated. It might be in that book that I translated. Where are you at? Right here. No. Maybe here. No. Hold on, man. Good God. THADHA. This is the passage. It may not even say that, but we're going to read it anyway. It may not say the Chicorian, but they were talking about the Chicorian people. Let me pull this up in my showing folder. Showing here. I hate when this does it that way. Yeah, that just messed me up. Let me just go back. Fuck it. Data, whatever. Okay. So right here, as you can see in this old as Latin book, it says King Datha reigns over the 500 tribes. That's where I found the 500 tribes. Okay, so it was 18 tribes or 19 tribes on the website, as you saw earlier. It took me actually, and look, the crazy thing is, I translated this off of their website's book. Okay, off of the damn book right here, because I haven't found that page in the actual book that I'm still looking for, but I went and took a screenshot right here, right? And I this is what I got from the excerpt. But that's funny that they got the book there, but on this website they start talking about the 19 tribes. But then when I look at the book, it says King Datha reigned of over 500 tribes stretching from the one sea to the other. He is said to use men of great stature in place of horses to draw his chariot whenever he pleases, who carry him upon his shoulders whenever he wants to return home again. Okay, now I need to read the rest of the book, but I was just like, 500 tribes? Who the hell? Why didn't y'all say some shit about the 500 tribes already? Y'all said 19, and you got the book on your page, right? So, okay, we already know. Yeah, you already know erasure, right? So I was like, okay, King Datha, he was the king over the folks. I found out that they were Shakorians, but eventually Cusabos. That Cusabos, we're going to get to that. Actually, I know we're going to how we're going to get to it. So we know that Kusa means black. We know that King Datha, I should have stayed over here. King Datha reigned over 500 tribes. They're going to give us some of these tribal names, but how many are going to stay lost? That's pretty sad. I don't know. But some of the sub tribes, and I ain't going to go through them all, but you see them because we actually went through these in that screenshot earlier. But there's a lot of those tribes right there. Stono, like the Stono Rebellion. But also notice it says Kusa chiefdom and Mississippian culture, right? The Kusas. So I definitely knew Kusa was Cusabo. So I kept reading, I'm just reading, right? I'm just reading. And another thing that really kicked everything into being crazy right here. This section right here. Because again, I kept saying, why did they add the bow to it? Where did the bow come from? Are they just changing it up? I thought in my head I was pretty much convinced that they were just changing it just to be changing it, right? Because that's what a lot of times they do. But this was not a purposeful change by a YT. This was really a Cusabo. That was a word. Now we're going to read this. It says Blair Roods has suggested that bow suffix and other evidence may indicate a relationship to the Arawakan languages of the Caribbean indigenous peoples, some of whom originated on the South American continent. If true, it would mean that parts of the Atlantic coast in North America may have been settled by indigenous peoples of the Caribbean islands. And let me say this. I believe Kusa comes from the Chata words, right? Bo comes from the Arawak words. I'm thinking it's a mixture of the two people together. I'm thinking you can be a Kusa, a Chata that came from the area, which they call them strong and black, or you can be a Kusabo, a strong and black Chata mixed with the Caribbean. So all a Kusabo is, in my opinion, based upon this suffix, is a mixture of a mainland and a Caribbean. And you know what's crazy? I got plenty of Geechies that have told me in my inbox or in my comment sections that they have mixtures. Not all of them, and even maybe the ones that don't may not have done their genealogy, but maybe not every single one of them, of course, may have this mixture. But many have told me that they have um, ancestry going over there to the islands, whether it be Bahamian. And honestly, the crazy thing about this too, and I'm about to pull up something somebody messaged me on a comment that was really cool too. But the main thing about this too is when I first started doing my research on Geechees long ago, when I first heard one of them talk in a video, I said, damn, this person sounds like they from the Bahamas. And when I first said that, people thought I was tripping, but I had some people who were Geechee was telling me, nah, bro, you right. A lot of us sound like that down here. So I was like, okay, man, I know I ain't tripping, right? I know I ain't tripping. Let me see if I can find what this girl said. So let me show you something that this girl said when it comes to this bow situation. Let me see if I screenshotted it. If I didn't, I may have to go find it. I hate if I have to do that. I didn't screenshot that. Cause she's a Geechee, I think. Damn it. Did I screenshot? I don't think. Maybe I screenshot it on here. Let me see. I typically don't be reading stuff on my iPad like that, so I doubt I did. I might just have to tell y'all. Man, I could have sworn as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, let me snap that. Because I gotta show people her saying that. While I'm looking for this, let me just throw this out there at y'all, man. I was on a live stream, Josh's live stream. And y'all know Josh, if you know Josh, he's been, out here for a cool minute. Kind of like on the side that black people wasn't Indians, you know what I'm saying? That he had like a part Nigerian or I think he's part Nigerian. The other part of him is black, but he thought his grandma was like Indian, like the Native American Indian type shit. But long story short, he today he showed people that he found some Indian records. Found some new Indian records under his folks. So he's kind of gonna have to start changing a little tune. We're gonna see if he gonna change a little bit of that tune. You know what I'm saying? Man, are you serious?
Say yes to this rock.
I think maybe he's on my Twitter. Let me go to my Twitter. Ain't that a bitch? I gotta find this, man. But yeah, he might have to start changing his T-Zone, you know what I'm saying, after a minute, because and I saw the record. I actually screenshot the record. Cause I don't want to, just in case he change up on the nigga, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna flip it out on his ass. Hold on, man. I seen your records. Unless it was some fake records. Let me screenshot that, because people be playing. Let's see, correct log. Interesting. No, I bet it was on my goddamn TikTok. And I'm gonna tell y'all what she said while I look this up. And if I can't find it, fuck it. And it must be on my TikTok. Let me go look on my TikTok. But she said that her people,
You gotta stay tuned for my Geechee document.
Stop that. So I found that her people would say "bo" all the time. That's like some kind of saying that they got down there. and in the Caribbeans, amongst the Caribbean people, whatever. There's been some people tell me that they got a Caribbean accent. They didn't know why they had this Caribbean accent because they've been told they were Geechee this whole time. I was like, damn, I'm putting shit together. I'm getting people's lives together. My family Geechee never said we was not only Geechee. Yeah, I'm gonna look at one more. I've done. This house right at the end of the sun. Whatever. I guess I ain't gonna be able to find it. Let me look at one more. I've been doing a lot of videos. No, it ain't on that one either. All right. Well, you're just gonna have to believe your boy. That sucks, man. I gotta find that because I got to have that um, for like proof. It's like it's people's testimony. It's like real people's testimonies of what my research is showing. I put out the research, and people from that area start to confirm it from me based upon their own genealogical. Like now I got people coming to me talking about they Cusabo and they've known about it, and I was like, well, shit, I didn't even know people even knew the word existed like that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas, I was still on Uchis and still on Wale and still on, just finally getting past that barrier. The fact that it wasn't no bullshit Gullah Geechee shit. And then, and now here I get to some Kusabos and I'm like, wait a minute. If you know the word Kusabo existed, you really know something. But then if you know that the name of these tribes exist, these older names of these tribes, then you really have done. And the fact is, I've seen a couple of the people have tied their people back to some of these tribes. So when you got black people tying themselves genealogically back to tribes that don't even exist and haven't even been mentioned since after 1750, then you know we them niggas. You know we them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? They can't play with. What's up, Lola? I'm just looking down. My bad, y'all. Y'all know I don't be. What's up, Aura? Just seeing you. My bad, y'all. Big Yuchi. What's up? Uh, Mel B. What's happening? Everybody up in here. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yeah. My bad. I be going in. But yeah. So um, if people know the name of some of these tribes and you tie yourself to a Disto or Kusa or whatever, you've really done some decent work in deep diving about your history. Now you not only know you're not Geechee, you know you're not Yuchi directly, you know that you're not Kusabo. In a sense, you are Kusabo. But okay, so to explain the Kusabo and the tribe thing. So how can you be Kusabo? What is Kusabo and what are these? Because these are sub tribes of Kusabo. Remember, I said Kusabo likely means the type of race you are. You are a Choctaw race and a Arawak race mix. Now, under the Choctaw Arawak mixture, you have families. And King Datha was the king of the Kusabo tribes. Okay, he was that nigga of the mixed niggas, right? So that's what this is meaning. Now we're deciphering this based upon the language we can figure out, listening to the words, and I believe this is why they try to make us lose our language. It was easier to make us lose our language than to rename everything in the United States. You get it? That's why everything is still named Indian names, because we just took your language away and you won't even know. You'll go down Biscayne Boulevard and didn't know Biscayne was an Indian tribe. You'll live on Edisto Island and didn't know it was an Indian tribe. So what's faster? That blowing up all the buildings from the old world or renaming them and putting up different faces on them bitches? Because it shows this is starting to make me think it was a rush job.
Like that's why the old world shit starts to make a little bit more sense to me. Because up until at least 1750, niggas was still somewhere living all right. It was these it was the Yamasee Wars and the Tuscarora Wars in the Carolina area that started pushing these people out. We can get to that. But you think about it, these people we was living in the places that were there, the old world shit that was there, right? And they had to do something. It's like a rush job. Like, oh man, we got to get here. We got to do something. We got to make these people forget they was here. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have to do something about this. And I don't know, man. They done built up so much shit. It ain't just no vast empty lands with teepees in this bitch, nigga, to set on fire. No, nigga, that stone buildings all around this hole. Castles and shit, roads and all this other stuff. Like when you read the I gotta think about Hernando de Soto fighting Chief Tuscaloosa, the Black Warrior, and his people. And it says that when De Soto and them came upon the Tuscaloosa area, which was called, what was that area called? It wasn't called Cusabo. Oh, Mobile, Alabama. They were the Mobilians. They were the Mobilian Indians. Duh. So when he came upon Mobile, Alabama, which is full of YT races now with Confederate flags, and hella Southern draws to their voice, but when he came down there, he said that there was 80 buildings, 80 homes, and they said that each home could hold 1,000 men. On top of that, their families. So when you did the math, each home, 80 homes, each home held 1,000 men. That would be 80,000 men and their families in that area. And it specifies that in the book. I could pull it up, but whatever. So you think about the area. First of all, you think about what kind of giant structure can hold 1,000 people plus their families. Then you think one of them old world motherfucking mansion ass motherfucking, what they call Capitol buildings. Each one of them little rooms, you probably hold 1,000 motherfuckers in them motherfuckers. And then when you think about like the World's Fair and how they had lots of those buildings sitting all next to each other. And there's at one point in the Hernando de Soto, I think it's the Hernando de Soto. It's his book. He says that the Indians and the kings have porticos to their doors. And if you don't know what a portico is, I didn't at the time. Then I ended up doing a bunch of videos about porticos. Those columns are porticos. My bad, I had to look at my phone. Let me charge this too. Hold up. But you see what else has porticos? These are porticos. These are also porticos. These are porticos. These are porticos. In America, we are the only country, because I did videos on this, I ain't gonna go through it, but I did videos on this. We are the only country that puts porticos or porches. The word porch comes from portico everywhere. But even if you put porticos, state capitals. Every state capital has a portico. So what are these buildings with porticos that the caciques had that could hold 1,000 men? I wonder. I'm gonna let y'all think about that. How many rooms is in that bitch? You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then you got the downstairs. This motherfucker goes deep in the ground. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? I think this is what he came up on. right? And they had to fight niggas. Okay? But I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? But I doubt it. Yeah, boy, yeah, I doubt it, man. I doubt it. So, let me let y'all listen to Queen Quet real quick to prove some of this.
The indigenous Americans and the Africans combined. Yes. Yeah. Well, you were in the perfect place to ask about that because here in Beaufort County, when you drove on to St. Helena, there are two islands that sit on the side of St. Helena, Dotto Island and Palawana Island.
Two islands that sit over there, Dalta Island, Palawama Island. Now, when she said that, well, before let me let her say some more.
Most people are not familiar with either one of those islands. I am because that is where my father's side of the family are from. Dotto is named after Chief Dotto.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Let me do that because I restarted it. Hold on.
Place to ask about that because here in Beaufort County, when you drove on to St. Helena, there are two islands that sit on the side of St. Helena, Dotto Island and Palawana Island. Most people are not familiar with either one of those islands. I am because that is where my father's side of the family are from. Dotto is named after Chief Dotto, who was no doubt a Cusabo Indian.
Dalta is named. Now, when she first said it, I didn't know the words. I had to go actually. The way that I found the words is I went to go look on the map, and I said the first word she said sounded like it started with a D. And so I literally looked on Google Maps along the coast, upon the islands along the Geechee area until I found an island with a D, and that was Dalta Island. And next to Dalta Island, eventually I found Palawama Island. So I just want y'all to know the process of what I was going through. Like, it was all organic. I listened to her and I said, and from her, I literally found the Dalta website, the Kusa tribe, Cusabo, the mixture of them being Arawak, likely the 500 tribes after translating the book, all this other shit. King Dotha, who was the king over them, all this other shit. So that it completely told a complete story after this. But let me let her finish.
Okay, Palawana Island, which sits right next to it, was actually the first Indian reservation signed into law in the United States. I didn't find that out until I was a grown woman doing my own research for my own books on Gullah Geechee culture. And I decided I wanted to find out what did these names of where I live mean. I knew they were Native American names. Edisto, Paniwani, we call it Palawana, Dato, I knew that. Yamasee, but why, what do they mean? Where did these names come from? Right. I started going to Native American museums and libraries trying to find out. I went to New York and they opened the Native American Museum on right downtown, almost before you go to Staten Island Ferry. Okay. And I was like, what? I want to go there just to see what this place looks like. Well, I go to visit the exhibits, and here's a library. Well, that's one of my drugs of choice, books. Yes. So I see books. It's like, hey, gotta go in there. Right. I go in there, and they're like, yeah, it's funky. Yay. Right? Forget the exhibit. I'm in the library. That's right. So now I find an entire section of Indian place names. And here I start finding the names of the very islands down here as part of the list. Wow. I ask, can I photocopy? They're like, yeah, it's whatever, 10, 25 cents or whatever it was at that time per copy. Not a problem. This is what I do. I'm always ready with that. Copy. This becomes material for my book. The very last book I look in. Which book is this? There's a point I can't even tell you. The one you wrote. Oh, the one that I wrote. Oh, this one is God Done Smile Upon We, the Beaufort Isles. And so when I ended up looking at this last book on the shelf, it turns out Palawan is in there. I could have dropped the book on the floor because I've never found another book ever with that island name in it. So I'm like, are you kidding? Literally this much is on the page. When I go in the back, you know what I would do. You go in the back. I got to find it, right? It's okay, did that, got to the page, scanned down the page, bam, it's that long, and it says Palawan Island was written to be an Indian reservation, and they would determine if they were going to put all the Indians on there, and they would either basically succumb or die. Wow. And I was like, oh my God. So again, I could drop the book because my stomach gets sick. Right. That was your plan. And you also were that arrogant to write it down. That you were going to come on somebody else's land and plan it. They need to do what you tell them to do. Or you're going to push them in this one place and starve them out. Sick. My family still owns a lot of Palawan Island because that is where my grandfather came from and his father's father. My grandmother is the one from Dato. And so it made it.
So she knows a lot of this. Okay. Now she either must in her head believe that the Daltar Indians, Palawama, and the rest of them are some red Indians, some Siberians or something, because she hasn't came out just talking about how it's just nothing but black Indians. Kusa meaning strong and black from the Chata words and this and that, whatever. She said Cusabo. So she knows Cusabo. Does she know what Cusabo exactly breaks down into? I don't know. I don't know if she knows that. I don't know. She does know that those islands are named after indigenous names. Her grandfather's, and come on, lady. Your grandfather's grandfather gave you land, has passed down land that was on an indigenous island, and you still on this African shit. Every time you get out here, you wearing shells, African shells. We didn't wear that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We wore pearls and goddamn stones and shit like that. We didn't wear no goddamn shells. Okay. Maybe every once in a while you might get a little something. You might throw a couple shells in there, but most of the time y'all had on pearls and gold hoop earrings as Indians and shit like that. Jeez, please tap for the gems. Appreciate that, Aura. And her name is Queen Quet. Somebody asked that earlier. Yeah, her name is Queen Quet. Appreciate you putting that in the chat. That's how it is for a lot of us, and her from South Carolina, because we've been there before the YT games, for real. And she should know it. At this point, she should know, but I think she's still under some kind of, there must be the red man indoctrination, because she says like, oh, that's why my grandma looked like she looked. I wonder, like, what did she look like? She should have looked black. So do you think she full blood? Hold on one second. Yes, comma. I'm going to be shooting a podcast for a client from 9:30 to 10:30 period. But it's downstairs in my apartment complex in my studio downstairs, period. Not at the studio up north in the office, period. So you can come through. My bad, y'all hear me on my little voice text. I just told myself I'm trying to, let me shut up. But what the hell was I talking about? These these little things be getting my mind off of things. Oh yeah. Somebody asked on here, do you think she's full blood? At this point, if I say yeah, because I would like to see her show me an African receipt. Let's just say that. I would like to see her show me an African off the boat receipt, a manifest, an account book, a will, or something. Because, and even if she finds one, I mean, like her mom, she said her mom's side and her dad's side. So I'm guessing if it's on both sides, you got some indigenous, some Indian blood. Then then you just got to start asking, where does the African fit in? Did the African marry your grandma? On one of your sides, and your grandpa on one of the sides. So is two Africans married two Indians, and so now you like this half thing, and that could be the case. But I will say this. not a lot of Africans really came upon that coast like that I seen records for. So I would like to see her records. Because most of these people claiming indigenous look a little dusty. Right, right. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, especially her. You know that overbite ain't helping her at all whatsoever. The overbite plus the gums. You know, it's one thing to have an overbite. It's another thing to have that with super gum syndrome. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it could be that. Hey, talk a little shit. That could be the Airwalk in there. I'm just playing. You know what I'm saying? That could be the Airwalk and not the Shatta in it. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Shatta Indian over here. And I'm just playing. You know, she Cusabo. You know what I'm saying? My Airwalking brothers, they may not be there. So she might have a little, she might have a little, she might have a little African in that. But I don't know. I would like to see I really would like to see some paperwork. Like I would say at this point, if she can't prove any paperwork and she got all this information about being indigenous, she needs to be one of the main ones. I'm playing Lola. I'm playing. I'm playing Lola. You know I love y'all. Well, I'm saying she African, okay? Oh man. I knew there was gonna be somebody in here I was gonna mess with. I was like, in my head, I was thinking, who am I? Who did I just get on the bad side with that joke? And you know I love me some Lola. And Lola don't look nothing like no damn Queen Quet. But anyways, so yeah, like at this point, if she can't produce no kind of African paperwork on top of anything else, then she's got to come out. But I don't think she ever would come out fully saying something like that because she gets grant money, lots of it. They was giving $1 million a year out for a project for the Geechees that when she started her foundation, they was giving out $1 million a year for it. Appreciate that, Lola. She let me know she ain't mad at me. But yeah, they was giving out that money for a year, a couple years by the time she came into doing her thing. And now she's over here, and this is why I'm gonna be mad at her. I'm gonna play another little part, and we'll play the rest of this. But because she's lying, like right here.
He still lives today.
Gullah, which we spell today Gullah, was actually from the Gola people, Gola, which came from the Rice Coast or Windward Coast region of West Africa, as we once called it, Alkebulan. And they were some of the rice cultivators that were brought in to harvest Carolina gold rice.
So that was a lie, right? But then hold up.
And then you had from the same region, the Gidzi people, Gidzi, which Geechee, which we spell now Geechee, came out of.
So she literally just said, y'all didn't come from the Ogeechee River. That ain't even where your name came from, which your whole name is in the fucking river. And on top of that, she said it came from Gidzi, and she spelled it with a G. But little beknownst to her, I have another documentary that I knew about that spells it, that was before she came out. This was where the video is. Where the hell is it at?
To the south.
Oh, right here.
Even the words Gullah and Geechee were close to the names of the ethnic groups found in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia, the Gola and the Gezi.
Now, how come this old ass documentary, which it can't be that old because 1950 was the first time they even put Gullah and Geechee together in a newspaper or any documents or any books, period, because I've done all the research on that. And they were used separately prior to that. Geechees was used separately. The word Geechee was used up until in the 1800s. I got newspapers on that. And the word Gullah was used by itself. And they were making fun of black people using the word Gullah. And I got newspaper clippings and all kind of shit for that. Albums and all kind of shit. Well, just to get back onto this, They tried to say that it comes from the Gola and the Kissi tribe, Kissi. Now it's hard to say Geechee matches Kissi, right? And I believe they just kind of made the Kissi shit up. I don't think they actually found the Kissi tribe over there. These niggas just be lying. But that's what they said. You know, there's thousands of tribes over there in 52 countries. So, but we found it. You know, what you say? You said your tribal name is Kissi? Yeah, that sounds like Geechee to me. Yo, say that again. Kissi? Yeah, that I can fit that in there. Geechee. You're Geechee. Forcing it in there, okay? First time I seen this shit, I was like, y'all niggas playing games, nigga. Whole old Geechee River sit right next to you. Oh, what the old Geechee River? That ain't got nothing to do with this Geechee shit. What made you think that? Okay. All right. Nobody gets that. But okay. So, but then when you get to Queen Quet says,
And then you had from the same region the Gidzi people, Gidzi.
Gidzi. Well, why is that so different from the Kissi that we just seen before? Well, because both of them are lies either way. It didn't fucking matter. You don't have to keep up with the goddamn lie. You just gotta lie, okay? Put me on the goddamn camera and let me lie to these niggas real quick, okay? That's why I can't stand her on top of it. Now, maybe she got into her indigenous family learning later on, even though she should have knew about that since her father's father had given them goddamn land under King Dathar's fucking island, who was king of the goddamn Cusabos. I mean, come the fuck on. But regardless of all of that, you done came and made up all these stories. You know what I'm saying? And you can't even keep the shit straight. On top of that, you trying to make it fit because you must have came over here and said, well, this motherfucker starts with a K. People ain't gonna believe this shit. It needs to start with it. We gotta have it start with a G. Otherwise, they gonna start asking questions. Right? Like this nigga Sam doing with his pesky ass. Nigga busting up Geechee history like a motherfucker, okay? And I'm gonna continue to bust this shit up, you know. So the fact that she lies is the fact that, because look, there's one thing, pretending in schools. Well, hold on, let me know where you go. What language they speak? The DNA guy. Let me click on you. Oh, you the DNA guy? Well, you're the block guy. Yeah, we're just gonna block you. I'm not gonna mute. We're just gonna. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna block you. All right. He's the black guy at this point. I don't give a fuck about no DNA guy. I've seen that nigga on the panel. Look, I'll tell y'all, man. I don't even. Sometimes I'll entertain, like I entertain that one dude, but in many cases I just block them niggas. Especially the agents, especially the obvious agents. You know, Black First being blocked, all them niggas being blocked from over there. I ain't gonna never see them niggas unless they on somebody else's panel. That's the only time I ever see them, and then I'll jump up there, and they can't stand when my motherfucking ass come up. They know I got me some receipts, nigga, and they cannot stand it, nigga. And they know I'm about to go in on something, man. But anyways, but I can't have them coming up in here. I like to get this is how I like my live streams to go. Cause as y'all see, man, I've held 40 to 50 y'all in here, man, for quite some time, for a while. Just getting the game, and I appreciate that. Say you smart, why waste time entertainment now? Exactly. I know that's right. He's an agent. Exactly, man. And so like, this is the way I like my live streams to go. You know what I'm saying? And no shade on any other live streams at all, because I'm gonna join y'all's live streams and talk my shit. You know what I'm saying? But over here on mine, And that's because my audience has told me that in the past too. I remember back in the day, I was arguing with somebody too much, and people was like, man, you know what I'm saying, you should get on back to the knowledge, you know what I'm saying. And I sat there for a minute. I was like, man, I do like clowning these niggas. Don't get me wrong. I like to clown these niggas, nigga. That should be fun because they stupid as hell. But even more so, I do like to teach and I like to go through it because I make y'all laugh and crack up even when I'm not clowning these niggas, right? Y'all be in here cracking up on the random shit I be going off on these receipts. So I'm like, I just say, you know what, fuck it, man. Let me just shut all them niggas out. And I'll interact with them on everybody else's pages. But when y'all come in here, it's just going to be learning. It's just going to be learning. A little bit of clowning every once in a while. I might clown a motherfucker as they come in, but most of them I'll just block. Especially that DNA guy. Like, if one of them Pan-Africans come in here, block. A native come in here, they gonna get blocked, but after I hurt their feelings. Because you're not gonna hurt a Pan-African's feelings because they just trolls, right? Now, the natives, you will hurt their feelings with facts as they troll because there's going to be things they didn't see. Whereas the Pan-African don't really care about seeing what you show him, right? Because he's still a black person to the, black-skinned person no matter where the fuck he come from. But you're not going to hurt his feelings by showing him the truth about us being whatever, right? But a Siberian native, after a while, them niggas are going to start sweating. You showing too much stuff. So like they come in here talking about some Christopher, they take it first. I gotta hurt their feelings real quick. Oh, you came in here? Oh, you must want your feelings hurt. Yeah, let me do that for you real quick, and then we'll get back to the lesson. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, y'all, I'm gonna be end up getting off of here in a little bit. Why does this thing keep popping up on my damn screen? I'm end up getting up off of here in a little bit. But let's kind of just overview, because I've thrown a lot at y'all. But you all have pretty much become experts now on what happened on that South Coast amongst the Geechees. And it's important because eventually I'm going to be moving up different coasts and different tribes. What the hell is up with my I don't know if something's touching my screen. Let me wipe my screen real quick, because something keep popping up on my damn screen. My bad. If I send an invite, ignore it. My bad. Something is pushing buttons on my screen. What is going on? It's saying invite sent. I'm not sending no invites, y'all. It's like it's literally like something is controlling my goddamn screen. And it just sent another invite to somebody. And now, like, randomly, like, what the fuck is going on, dude? And it's like hold on, man. Because I don't want to have to end this. Hold on. Maybe I'll touch the screen with some shit and it's touching something else. I don't know. It's like, let me wipe the screen. All right. Let me see. It's like a ghost on my goddamn phone. Okay. That's what it was. It said lock and unlock. I think... Okay, yeah, it's straight now. I think I touched it. My hands get sweaty. I got this hyperhidrosis bullshit. Always had all my life. Long story short, like if I'm just like chilling in a temperature controlled room, and I'm not fully clothed. I mean, I got like shorts and a shirt on, but like my feet get cold and my hands may get cold, but sometimes they just get randomly sweaty. So you'll see me trying to hide that sometimes from the camera. But I think I might have touched it with a little bit of that nasty sweat. It's kind of gross, TMI, but whatever. Now it's straight. Y'all know a little bit too much about me at this point. But okay. So y'all pretty much are experts on this. And at some point, and this is important because a lot of this stuff I was going through by reading the Spaniards, you know what I'm saying? Reading what the Spaniards were saying in the area. And the Spaniards was really telling a lot of the truth. And I kind of knew that because I had books that let me see if I got the albums in here. If I got it saved in here. Like this. You got books like this where the French, actually this is French, where the French would draw your Indians like this. And when you go and find the English version of the book in the Carter Brown Library, you see it's been changed. So, and that's so damn ridiculous. And they did it with every Indian looking Indian in that book. But that wasn't the only book that did something like that. They did that to the Miwok Indians. The Miwok Indians was colored in like this when Lewis Corris came on his voyage. I found out about this voyage by reading another book, which mentioned Lewis Corris. And when I heard, it mentioned a ton of voyagers. And I was like, I'm going to go through and look up all these voyagers. And when I looked up this one, I found the entire book. And he had drawings in there that he drew. And this was the Miwok Indians. But when I found, now this was drawn in 1822. So imagine this, 1822, when he reached the coast, this is what he saw still. That's still, you know what I'm saying, well past the 1700s, you know what I'm saying? And they were still out there being normal black Indians. But in 1913, they redrew the picture in a book. So they say, oh, well, here's the English version, and we're going to do it all in pencil, okay? You know, they kind of make it questionable. Now, even when you look at this, you can still say, well, hey, they're melanated, right? So it's still there, at least to a degree, but it's almost questionably melanated, right? But then I found another one. Here's another one they did. You can't make it up. Okay? And they attribute the dude, Lewis Corris, down at the bottom right-hand corner. They're like, yeah, this is what Lewis Corris drew. Now, Lewis Corris was a pretty good artist. Lewis Corris drew these. Lewis Corris drew all of these in the book. Now, this is what he drew from Africa. Strong face. Strong face. He said the Africans, boy, they ain't got no hair. See, it's doing shit again. What the hell is going on with my phone, dude? It's doing it again. I don't know what it's doing. It's sending invites regularly like somebody's logged into my goddamn phone. What the fuck is going on? I done told these people my damn... This is crazy, man. I don't know what's going on with this phone. Let me wipe it off one more time. This thing is tripping. All right. It seems like it might be all right. All right. Can we see the original again? Oh, yeah, I got you. So, just so y'all can understand, this is what your Africans look like, right? He look mad than a bitch. Don't draw me, nigga. Don't you remember my face, you niggas? Okay. And you come over here and you see beauty. Okay? Beauty. Okay? You can even get your screenshot on. And these are the inhabitants of California. Okay? They look nothing like an African, as you can tell. Look at the hair difference now. Our hair is straight and thick. And I have lots of references, and I showed y'all one earlier, possibly, if y'all was here earlier, that showed that it was straight and thick. And some had them woolly, too. So there was both types, right? Because we can straighten our hair. Here's some more of them, though, too. These are San Francisco Indians. Let me show you. San Francisco Mission. And these are your San Francisco Indians. She's even got her hair tied in a little, little bun. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that with that Siberian shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, he got the soul glow, tap curl going thing. I don't know what you call that thing, but he got it going. That ain't just straight. That's a hairstyle. Even hers. It's a hairstyle curled on the top, straight in the back. What kind of Siberian ass hair is gonna stand up like that? That shit be done fell over in a heartbeat. Okay, you can't apply nothing to their hair that's gonna make it stand up like this. She look like goddamn Taraji P Henson, don't she? I be saying that all the time. Don't that look like Taraji P? She look like she about to go star in a new movie right now. Yes. And she live over on that coast, don't she? Ain't she? Don't she live over there, or she might be in ATL? I don't know where she live. But that was your San Francisco's. Now, this would be your Siberians, okay? From the Chalufchikis, whatever island. When I looked this up, this is up there in Asia. I'm not Asia. This is up there in Alaska area. Over there in the Alaska area, okay? We have them, right? This is the name of the book if you want to look it up. Voyages de Pertures du Monde. Louis Course is the name of the person. That's the main thing to take from it. Louis Course, Voyage Picturesque de Almondu, whatever. If you just put those two in, you'll find this. You'll probably find you have to find the real version, but it don't take hard. It's easy. It's in the archive. Now look at this. That's not straight and thick hair. That shit laying down on his head, ain't it? That shit laying down on that bitch head, ain't it? She got a little curve at the end, you know what I'm saying? But that ain't what ours was curved up. They got to curve that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Don't play games. Don't play no games. That ain't no thick hair. That's fair. Okay? These people were from the Aleutian, the Isles of the Aleutian. So these are also up there in the Alaska area. Looking like people from Japan, right? And why is this important? Well, things like this are on official websites. Like when you look at the National Parks and Services.gov website about the Miwok Indians, they show you this bullshit. Now, how you think the government doesn't know that this exists? Or do you think they playing games over here on the government website? Uh-huh. Straight erasure. Mm-hmm. These are your first peoples. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Get your stupid ass out of here. This is on their website. So also, this was on their website. Notice which picture the government decided to use. Right? That's why I showed you the different ones. They said, we'll just go with the pencil one. And in fact, take some of that shading out a little bit more. Yeah, we need that to look like shade and not melanin. Okay? In comparison to this, which has even more shading or at least more darkness, but also in comparison to this, which of course they don't want you to see that. You know, they definitely don't want you to see this. Okay? Because today, this is who the Miwok Indians are. That's why they don't want you to see it, okay? They said, we need you to, when you look at those drawings, we need you to see us, okay? Not yourselves, okay? We're the Miwoks now, okay? Accept it. They were not dark or, let's take a look at the Miwok Council. These are your Miwok. He was here when the French was here. They just didn't notice it. People that look like her were here in the San Francisco mission. You just didn't see her. She was taking a leak in the bathroom in the mission. She was here in all of her fucked up teeth glory. Those teeth have been passed down through generations on this landmass, according to her. Miss Jersey Shore was here as well. Miss or Mr. Non-binary was here as well. You just didn't see them. What in the fuck is that? I guess that's a Japanese Filipino mix. I don't know. And just awkward silence real quick. You know what I'm saying? Just a little awkward silence. He's a Miwok. He's a Miwok Indian. Okay? Now, never mind in 1822, this is what they look like. Never mind that. You know, 1822. 100 years later, this is their descendants. Okay? And they're part of the council. So it's official. He too. That guy too. Okay? Just so you know. These are your Miwoks. They want you to forget that New Spain was here, and like places like Texas was called the New Philippines. Because if you knew that Texas was called the New Philippines, you'd be asking, what happened to the Filipinos? Why would you call it New Philippines if it wasn't no Filipinos here? Now, it's called New Philippines based off of the fact that they named it after King Philip. Same thing with the Philippines. But when you look into it, yes, the Spaniards were bringing Filipinos all over on this coast and all around. So the more you look into this stuff, and it's funny here, what does it say? Look at this. So this is from a museum.org talking about the Miwok, or they either talking about the Miwoks or the San Francisco coast. 3 great powers, Spain, England, and Russia, sought dominion on the Pacific coast and regarded San Francisco as the key to success. Spain won so that these peculiar riches became blah, blah, blah. What do I want you to take from this? We have people from Spain here, people from England here, and people from Russia here, all trying to come on that western coast. But guess what? It's pretty funny. People from Spain came here, right? People from Russia came here, right? And what was the other one? What was that other one? Spain, Russia, and let me get the other one. England. You know what? Actually, because of that teeth, that's your England right there, right? You know what the English man, he looks like he's gonna say he needs a little bit of toast with his beans and shit. I don't know. I don't fucking know how to talk, right? But that's your England. There's your Spaniard. Where's a Russian? They could be Russian, to be honest with you. She could be Russian, to be honest with you. He said he could eat you. Hell yeah. Philippines was U.S. territory by 1900. Yeah, they're named after, and of course they got their indigenous tribes there. Yeah, I at the people and stuff. Yeah, every time I touch the screen, man, my screen be tripping. And my hands ain't even sweaty right now. That's what's crazy. My hands are dry. But yeah. So really, I'm off. I'm all over the place. We were talking about something different, but really, I'm about to get off of here. But just kind of going on my little tangents and things. Yeah, man. So like, nonetheless, I'm gonna get off so I can get myself ready for this. What you call it? Clean up my little place before people come through too. But yeah, man, so yeah, I appreciate y'all coming in here and getting the game, staying through, getting gamed up. Those who've been here most of the time, you've been gamed up on the Geechees more than anybody else. You know a lot at this point than the Geechees. Russian, Siberian. That's for damn sure. Siberia is in Russia. And it's like I really wonder about those people. They're like a mixture of like Asians and white tees or something with a little bit of like I don't know where the dark Mongolian thing comes from. I don't know. Like at some point maybe I'll look into their histories. But because I am curious on how the hell these people look like they look, man. There's so many different looking people in the world. I am glad we are who we are. Every a lot of races, boy, be looking decrepit. Okay, I don't care what people say. Yeah. I said what I said. A lot of races be looking decrepit at times. Man. If I ever got on any kind of little dating apps or something, nigga, it's got to be all black or something on that bitch, nigga. Because that's the only thing I'm scrolling through looking for. I've never been attracted to anything else in my life. I've tried to look at things. I'm like, man, shit. Give me them black girls. I've always been in the black people. You know what I'm saying? I've always loved my black folks, so-called black. My Indian folks. I know that's how we've stayed around each other. That's how we've kept our bloodline being where it was. And probably why they hate it is because we keep reprocreating with ourselves. You know, you got your sellout niggas here and there. I got some in my family. But most of my family procreated with another Indian. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I'm pretty sure it's like that with most of y'all's. But we love us. We love us. We do not love everybody else. We do not be out here clamoring trying to get us a Mexican, clamoring trying to get me some, Middle Eastern looking bitch or some shit like that. I don't give a damn. In fact, I feel like the house is gonna stink if I had me a Middle Eastern looking bitch. To be fucking shit they cook, the smells they be having in. Anyway, let me get off here before I get banned. Yeah, we do love us. Let me get off here before I speak my mind and get banned in this bitch. But I appreciate y'all, man, coming through. Y'all enjoy y'all evening, man, and keep giving out the game.